Fuck out of here, boy.
Guys, welcome to the first official podcast, first episode of Who's Gonna Tell 'Em. And honestly, if nobody else will, I guess it's me. And I'm your host, Antican. You probably know me from my other channel, Antican TV, where I talk my shit. And now I'm gonna be doing this in a podcast format because I gotta get through a lot of topics, and I guess I'm gonna have to tell them because other people don't. And I want to be clear with what I'm about to say. I talk about different stuff, I give my opinion, and whether you like it or not, hey, swallow it, grind on it, marinate on it. Who cares? I'm here to talk my shit, and let's get into this because obviously I have a lot of shit to talk about today. All this gaslighting and surrounding Call of Duty and all the nonsense with all these streamers. Who are the cause of all of this? And if you watch my other channel, you know exactly who I'm talking about. You know exactly who I'm talking about. You know who I'm always aiming at. And I don't do it for clickbaits. Honestly, if I really truly wanted to, I would do a whole playlist just calling out these guys. It's not about just doing it for clicks and views. For me, it has to do more with the impact to promote new change. There's this old cloud, dark cloud, that keeps diminishing the growth of the franchise and the player base. And I know people see it. I know people go and say, listen, these people are really ruining the franchise Call of Duty. They're ruining it. The way their mentality, their takes, their opinions are a cancer within the Call of Duty community. And again, if I have to mention these guys, then obviously you do not watch my other channel, which is Antican TV. You see it down there. Hey, subscribe to that channel as well, because honestly, I try to give my honest take and really give perspective to what's going on. For somebody who literally has played Call of Duty for a long time, I can give a real take. I might not have pull or weight like these other streamers do with millions of subscribers and all that, but you sure as hell will get a lot of honesty from me. So, stick around. But I wanted to get through that because the first topic of the day is Call of Duty. And I dropped a video on this, but I wanted to, root out deeper doing this podcast because there's something that has to be said. And I know that a lot of people have been noticing this, and it's confusing the player base. It is confusing the player base, and I honestly don't see a way out in a sense. And it doesn't make any sense, but we're gonna get through this. We're gonna I'm gonna give examples and show you some articles that seem so contradicting, and it makes you wonder, which one is it, right? So first off, right, in this article here, right, and this was, when was this dropped? This was dropped the 17th, okay? So as I'm making this podcast, it's the 23rd, 2 days before Christmas, by the way. Guys, be safe during Christmas time, all right? Don't do anything stupid. Enjoy your damn holidays and make it through the year. Jeez. But listen, this was on the 17th, right? And it says, Battlefield 6 now extremely likely to beat Call of Duty Black Ops 7 as the best-selling game of 2025 in the US. And then he boasts saying, there's always Game Pass. Right. And it says here, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 launched last month to become the best-selling game of November. I want to make something clear. If you follow me on X, and if you don't, again, at Antican TV, follow me there. I talk a lot of shit there too. I responded back to Charlie Ento. Okay, now I'm not attacking Charlie Ento because he's not. You know that saying, "Do not shoot the messenger." I'm not shooting Charlie Ento. Right? He sees the news and he reports it as is, which I'm okay with. But when you see articles like this drop, and you see, if you follow Charlie Ento, he drops these numbers week by week, where Call of Duty is either number 1 or number 2, number 1 on Xbox, number 2 on PlayStation. And then you see articles like this talking about how other games are beating out Call of Duty. And then you see the numbers week by week and Call of Duty is number 1 or number 2. That is so contradictory. Like, which one is it? Right? All these articles, and it's hard to give a real fact checking towards these articles or anything that either Microsoft or Activision says. So it confuses the player base to what has been happening, right? And there's no real way to prove it, because then it's like, how do you even prove something like this, right? And I feel like that's what they're counting on when they do these things, because it's like, well, they can't prove it, so I guess we could come up with any story that we could come up with. And no one can fact check it because there's nothing to, link us to any false information, right? I mean, only the smart ones would know that maybe as soon as we get some type of piece to put it in the correct spot, then we could put 2 and 2 together and say, yeah, these guys were lying. But it's kind of hard to say otherwise with everything that's been going on with Microsoft lately, which we'll get to pretty soon. But I want to, get you up to speed and give you some context to what's been going on, right? So it says that when it launched, it was good launch, obviously. Tell me how many games in November of this year dropped. Not many. I think like 2 or 3. And the most anticipated game that everybody was waiting for, Black Ops 7. So what is more likely to happen on a game launching that month? It would be the best game in that month, no? Battlefield 6 had the same good month in October because there were other games that dropped. That was the most anticipated game out. Of course, it's going to have a good month when it's a new game. So people, it's very contradictory to drop these numbers week by week and say, yeah, November was a good month for Black Ops 7. That's why companies and people who tally up the numbers, wait 3 months, right? Because that's the first 3 months to kind of dictate how the year will go for any product, including games. So which one is it? And that's a question to Microsoft, right? And this is important because then this article came along, right? And in this article, ladies and gents, in this article, it says Call of Duty continues to dominate US player rankings while Battlefield 6 slips further behind in the franchise rivalry. How does that make sense? And by the way, this came out 19 hours ago as I'm making this video. So this is almost a day ago. So this was recent numbers. These are recent. And it begs the question to what is real and what isn't. Right? What's real and what isn't. And the problem lies on the way that Microsoft and Activision are marketing this, right? Because they don't use Black Ops 7. They use the whole Call of Duty headquarters, which includes Black Ops 6, 7, and Warzone, right? So how do you determine? Now there's some rumors going around that for the Game Pass. Now I can't confirm this. I'm telling you, it's not confirmed though. I'm not making it true. I'm not saying, oh yeah, I can validate this. No. But the rumor going around is that Microsoft is counting Game Pass subscriptions, even if you're not playing Black Ops 7. They're counting as these people are playing Black Ops 7 who are subscribed to the Game Pass, well, which is only Ultimate, because I Premium and Essential don't include Black Ops 7, but only Ultimate. So if this is true, then obviously we have to confirm this, because if you could confirm that that's what they're using and they're doing this tactic to add more volume to the total of people playing week by week, that means they're lying. I'm saying that's exactly what I'm saying, and I think, and again, I believe that that's what they're doing, and this doesn't look right if this is confirmed to be true. Again, I never said this was true. I said rumors, so don't quote me and say, "Oh, this is true." No, none of that shit is true. I'm just simply saying that there's rumors going around that that's the case, and there's no real, can't back it up. But it's hard to dismiss it at the same time because of what's been happening. No? What's been happening is you can't dismiss it because of all these articles and all that. Which brings me, ladies and gents, to this news that was posted yesterday, where somebody asked an executive from Microsoft, and it says, Microsoft says it's incorrect that Xbox division is now targeting 30% profit margins. Now they're detracting from this. And they said, over the past couple months, you may have come across the idea that Microsoft has placed a target of 30% profit margins on the Xbox division, and this stems from a report that first mentioned it back in October. At the time, Bloomberg noted how these profit margins were well above the industry average of 17 to 22%, while Xbox had ranged between 10 to 20 over the past 6 years. However, Microsoft has now directly responded to this claim in a response to CNBC, telling that the outlet how despite setting ambitious goals, because it's definitely ambitious, the 30% profit margin target is incorrect. Now, let's look at these numbers first, right? They said the average for above average industry that, has a certain threshold, 17 to 22%. While the Xbox division looks between 10 to 20%, especially in the last 6 years. So why the threshold? And by the way, this is not the whole company. This is the margin that they reported by the Xbox division. This wasn't the whole company. This wasn't just the whole Microsoft company putting this ambitious target on their back. This was just the Xbox division doing this. So I want to prompt something. If you play Xbox and you either own the Game Pass and whatever, right? You've seen longer periods of time with all these sales they have for games and Microsoft products, right? You've seen it extending dates, right? You've seen that, right? Yeah, I know you've seen that. And then the raising the prices for the Game Pass. You've seen that too. I mean, literally in November was the official time they started raising the prices for Ultimate, and they added the new, tenors of membership, right? The essential being 10 or whatever, and then premium being the former price for ultimate, and ultimate being $30 a month. So I don't know if this is completely true. I feel like they did want that 30% profit margin, right? Because didn't they even say that the reason why they raised the prices for the Game Pass was to find a way to pay off developers, that this was good for the developers, right? Because the developers would never see the light of day when it comes to revenue during each period of time, you know, than the quarterly times based on 3 months when the game drops, right? So they would never see that type of profit. And they pitched it as, oh yeah, you know, because we want to pay our developers from our Xbox studios and this and that. So I don't know if this is so far-fetched and they're trying to backtrack with the fact that they did put this as really an ambitious goal of 30%. Which brings me to their failures right now, because this is their average for the past 6 years, 10 to 20%. To force a 30% profit margin, you have to raise prices and also put things on sale, like on the same time, like to kind of level it out, right? And it seems to me they've been doing this more often than not. Which begs the question, is this the reason why right now Xbox is struggling with their developing companies? It seems like it's like a domino effect, because now one of the biggest companies, Activision, is feeling the effects of this, and the struggles of Black Ops 7 is proof of it. No? That's what I'm thinking. Which brings me to my conclusion. How do you save the biggest game they have, which is the Call of Duty franchise, right? Ran by Activision. So how do they fix that? This prompts me to this post, because what ruins a game when it comes to PvP? It's a simple answer. There's two, but one that really overtakes everything. It overtakes everything, and that is the cheating problem. Team Ricochet dropped this tweet stating, over the last year, we've permanently banned more than 800,000 accounts caught cheating. But behind every cheater is a broader network. And I'm glad, and this line is important, because banning 800,000 accounts, think about the average of how many people own accounts, right? The cheaters will own multiple accounts. So let's suppose that you ban 800,000, right? And each of these guys probably own, 10 to 20 accounts. Let's suppose that that's the case. Then you're really banning an average of 800 people, right? Or whatever, you do the math, which is not a lot of people in that sense, right? So this 800,000 means nothing. So that's why this is important to hear when they say, but behind every cheater is a broader network of cheap developers and resellers. That's why we combine our in-game protections with direct action against the cheat ecosystem itself to keep your matches fun and fair, while also making it harder for vendors to operate. Let me make something clear. Cheating has been happening. If you've seen the videos, I don't know what the target is. And I know that by saying this, it's not really saying anything. I want to see the official numbers, because it's not a fair assessment either to kind of attack Ricochet, right? I think at the end of the day, when you hear these streamers talking about, you need to put some funds into Ricochet so we could right? We do. But there's an important factor. Like, what's the point of making Ricochet better if you can't protect the servers in the first place? Because there's still cheaters getting by. Yes. Now you narrowed it down to actual coders, right? Because hackers and cheaters are two different things. Let's just be honest. A lot of people confuse that. Hackers and cheaters are two different things. A hacker is somebody who understands the zeros and ones, who knows how to manipulate the system and could do this and cheat. A cheater buys from the provider and doesn't know the kernel level coding system, right? So when there's lesser people cheating, we could assume that these guys are actually high level coders that can bypass the system because they know how to code and bypass the kernel level. So one might say that maybe upgrading your servers can benefit the future of the franchise when it comes to PvP. Maybe. Across Call of Duty Black Ops 6, we shut down nearly 70 cheat providers. That's still a lot, dude. That's still a lot, including major vendors, and disrupted nearly 300 resellers' operations. That effort has carried into Black Ops 7 with more major vendors closed, almost 40 resellers. Now, granted that Black Ops 7 has been out for 2 months now, and 40 is still a lot. But when you're dealing with the same servers, wouldn't those numbers still be the same? That's my real question. Like, the numbers seem like it should be the same, not because you're splitting both games and then saying, oh yeah, Black Ops 6 had a shitload of cheaters, which it did, like shitload. Like, something happened when Black Ops 6 came out. I mean, literally the floodgates just split open, which is a weird thing, right? And it says shutting down a single vendor prevents cheating across thousands of matches. We'll keep that pressure on into the new year. Let's see the real numbers when January comes out, because I believe season 2 will be a real test for them, because they're most likely to introduce ranked in season 2, and that's where where all the cheaters nest themselves. Not necessarily. I feel like console can see a good amount of cheaters. But again, the only way you can pitch Black Ops 7 in a better way is if you could really eradicate cheating. Fix your servers, please. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's weird to me when I keep seeing that a multi-billion-dollar company owned by another multi-billion-dollar company, and you telling me that you haven't upgraded your servers since you introduced Ricochet back in 2018, 2019, something like that. How is that possible? How does something, how does something not pan out? Now, ladies and gents, now we have to get to, so if you don't follow me on my main channel, Antagon TV, then let me drop some knowledge. I'm a Bears fan. I'm from Chicago. You can see in the back, Cubs little sign right there when they won. I'm a Chicago at heart, man. I am Chicago all the way through. All right. And I had to bring this up. I had to bring this up, ladies and gents. I had to. Why, Ant? Why do you have to bring this up? Listen, to every sports analyst out there, people who have a talk show, radio talk show on ESPN, this and that. Listen, us Bears fans, we're not delusional. We know, we understand. We're not delusional people. We're not delusional. You know why we're not delusional? because we're not idiots. Only idiots are delusional. We get that on paper we can't compete with anyone. But it's not what happens on paper, it's what happens on the field. And yes, everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about it, ladies and gents. Why? Why is everybody talking about it? Yeah, everybody's talking about it, ladies and gents. And we have to address this. We have to address this because it has to do with a couple no's, and it's getting out of hand now. It's just getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand because now there's some news going around that the Packers have submitted a league request to replay the second half of Saturday's game versus Chicago. Now, do you know what you have to petition for if they're asking you to replay the second half of a game? Basically, 30 minutes worth of a game you want officials to review. All because the Packers in Green Bay are claiming that their heaters turned off in the second half during the game. Mind you, that the Bears literally took them 2 minutes, the final 2 minutes of the game, to tie the game up, take it to overtime, and then win on overtime. Think about what you're really requesting. And this is to Green Bay. What are you really requesting? What are you really asking the officials to do? What are you asking the NFL, the commissioner, to do exactly? To a malfunction? How did that determine the game? If anything, what determined the game was Love going down, Parsons being gone, right? Because it couldn't be because of the weather. You live in the Midwest too, and you deal with the same weather we deal with. So it can't be because of the cold weather. Is that really your argument? I'm confused. Are you saying that the bad weather helped the Bears win? The cold weather helped the Bears win? No, you gotta, hold up. No, I gotta sit up, right? Because I'm here trying to put it together. Are you trying to say that the cold weather is the reason why you guys lost? Two teams from the Midwest, Green Bay and Wisconsin, probably colder than Chicago. Seriously? Oh, they were going to town in the comment section, by the way. Oh, people were just going to town. Point is, how are you going to make an argument by saying they intentionally? What proof do you have that they intentionally gave the Packers faulty equipment to help Chicago have an advantage on the field to play? And your excuse is we lost because of cold weather? And this is not even the half of it, ladies and gents. This is not even the half of it. This right here, this is not even the half of it. This was from ESPN Milwaukee, okay, and ESPN Kai Lu, and this is what he had to say about the Bears and Caleb Williams. So let's
listen. Ben Johnson's been in this bag before, but the genius offensive play caller that you had could only muster up a total of 3 points. 3 points throughout the first 3 quarters of this game. You mean to tell me your franchise quarterback went against a Michaelis defense and the guy that you guys love could only get 3 points in the first 3 quarters of this football game?
Oh, yeah.
Y'all couldn't get any thing going in the first 3 quarters of this game. And the Green Bay Packers
How many times you said 3 quarters?
Michael Parsons, and they did not have Jordan Love. And throughout most of that game, Malik Willis was the better quarterback. You watched that powerful run game get stifled by the Green Bay Packers, not being able to get anything going. You saw your QB sit in the pocket and throw the ball away so many times, throw after throw after throw. So again, when you look at this game, yes, y'all took the dub, but if I'm a Bears fan,
because that's not what it counts, right?
Get done celebrating, which you should celebrate. You should. It was a big victory. It was an exciting end to the game. But at the end of the day, you should be very concerned about the things that was shown. Listen.
Let me explain something here. How many quarters are in a football game? 4, right? They were winning the game. Green Bay was winning the game. Weren't they not? Okay. There was 2 minutes and 36 seconds left on the game? Okay. Onside kick. The Bears recovered. Right? Okay. They get 2 scores. Okay? They tied the game up. All right? Then we get to overtime. Who won the game? Who had the winning touchdown? Who threw the winning touchdown? Okay. It's not how you start the game, it's how you end it. Sure. Us fans, we know the history of Chicago. We know the history of the Chicago Bears. We've never had a real franchise quarterback. We didn't. But we have had confident quarterbacks with their confidence being so high that it's really contagious. We had Jake McMahon wasn't the best son. They won a Super Bowl in '85. We have other quarterbacks after that had that confidence, that kind of, but we always been a defensive team. We have. And I'm gonna be fair with what I'm about to say with Caleb Williams. He's not your ideal quarterback, of course. Unpredictable as he is, for a coach, it's scary. But Caleb Williams does not lack confidence. And when he needed to show up, he did. And that's the reason why we won the game. Let's be clear, because we were both watching the same game. And to just diminish somebody in the first 3 quarters, then we could diminish Green Bay in the last 2 minutes of the 4th quarter, right? Because how do you fumble a game with only 2 minutes and 30 seconds left and let the Bears come back and win? And I don't want to hear the excuse, oh, we didn't have Love or Parsons. No, I don't want to hear that excuse. It's not good enough. It happens. And unfortunately, he got hit and he got a concussion. We've seen it. Okay? And I think you're right. I think if Love was still in the game, the Bears would have lost. I don't think the Bears fans are delusional. But you take the win either way. Because at the end of the day, a win is a win. And for you to go into a podcast or your little show that you have and diminish Caleb Williams in that manner, what did he do to piss you off? Say you're a Green Bay fan without saying you're a Green Bay fan. Look, I admit I'm a Bears fan, but I was honest with my take on Caleb Williams. He's not the ideal quarterback that people are hoping to have. He'll have his streaks and he'll have his moments, but you got to take him as is. Otherwise, on to the next quarterback. I think bringing Ben Johnson in brings a different type of coaching that is huge for this team. They need Ben Johnson on this team because then now both Caleb and Ben Johnson can literally feed off of each other. And that's why you're seeing this streak. It might be pure magic at this point. It is. But us as Bears fans, we're we're riding along until the end of the road. That's all we could do, right? And to add more insult to injury, and it's more nonsense here. So we're gonna get into that.
But Ben Johnson said many times in the preseason and early in the year, we're going to be playing our best ball at the end of the year. I feel like people like me sometimes talk about like the leap that a player makes from year 1 to year 2, or the second year in a system. It is very obvious that Caleb Williams is getting better over the course of the year. And I know it still isn't consistent throughout games, and these throws are incredible late, and he's clutching. We can talk about all of it, and it was one of my favorite moments as a Bears fan in my entire life. Honestly, like legitimately top 5.
See, you got a Bears fan.
I do think they are dangerous because he is clearly getting better as the season goes on, and I think that's a thing, though, Coach, you're smirking at me like you don't agree.
Look, I struggle with this. It was a great win, okay?
Thank you.
But we're talking about a team that was 2 for 11 on third down.
Yeah.
You keep talking about the numbers.
Time of possession. They had a 1% chance to win the game, and recovering that onside kick was fluky. And look, you have
no one's denying the onside kick.
Very good
game and that's the point.
Of this game with no Jordan Love, with no Micah Parsons, and to come out and be like, yeah, you know, that's how we drew it up, and I like.
If we made an excuse, if any team or anyone made an excuse every time somebody has success, the reason why this person has success, my leg was hurt, or this piece, the reason why this person got the job is because I was sick and I couldn't make it for the interview, or this and that. If we made an excuse every time something like this happened to up somebody, we be completely lost in this world, right? It's okay to take the wins. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Everybody's just down talking the Bears because what? We were up, you know, we had the opportunity. Jordan Love goes down, Parsons goes down, and that's the reason why we won. Yeah, we do know that. But that's not even the point. A win is a win. And then you hear people talking about, oh yeah, when they play the Lions again, the Lions gonna run through them, this and that. San Francisco, like, Caleb Williams looks confident, and I feel like that's the most important thing right now. Whether he goes 3-11 in the first half, and then second half he goes monster like, we'll take it, because confidence is confidence, and either diminishes by week or increases by week. And in the case of Caleb Williams, week by week, his confidence is in a high level, and that's everything. That is everything. Now, I don't get it. I don't understand why the hate, but I guess when people hate and people are knocking on the door hard, that means you're doing something right. The more the hate, the more right you're doing. And I'm a Bears fan, baby. I'm a Bears fan. But again, I don't get it. I have no hate towards Packers fans. They've been killing us for decades. Ever since Brett Favre, man. The Brett Favre, they've been killing us for a long time. And to get this win is huge for us. So we're going to take it. It's really that simple, right? But this next topic, ladies and gents, listen. And I've been talking about this for a while. I've been talking about this with my dad. And it's some serious shit. Now, I don't know how people are going to feel about what I'm about to show. Obviously, there's a lot of shit going on. And the topic that I'm referring to is the whole situation with the Epstein Files. How most of the files have been public, you know, has become public knowledge now. Where you could, you know, search it and you could look at all the public files. They they released. Some redacted, with the faces blacked out because at the time they were probably minors, and the people who are redacted probably don't want to show their faces yet. At some point they're gonna have to, but I'm gonna warn you right before I show you all of this, because we need to have a serious talk. Because I don't know why these people who have been found out are not in jail right now for heinous crimes, for real. How are they not in jail right now? But I'm gonna show you right now, ladies and gents, because this is a serious topic. This is serious. Obviously, I didn't, I wasn't going to, but we're gonna look at something here. That it was pretty interesting. Obviously, again, these are basically PDFs of certain files that are redacted at the moment until this goes to trial, if or the person mentioned in these files comes forward. But I've been keeping up with this because there's one that's actually really interesting. Now, I don't know where, I don't want to click on this. If you go on, what should we call it? On Reddit, you can search it yourselves. But right here, this one is an interesting one because this mentions Trump in a murder case. Let's just be honest, this was a murder case. Epstein victim from Los Lunas says Trump was present when her newborn was murdered on a yacht. The girl was 13 years old when she was pregnant, and it seems Trump was present when her uncle murdered her newborn and disposed of its body in Lake Michigan. That is some crazy work. This one is really interesting because the person, now being obviously older, probably in her late 30s or 40s, is claiming that Trump was there and witnessed somebody kill her baby into Lake Michigan, a 13-year-old girl. We're dealing with all these child predators who are known figures in the political world, in the world. Rich people, kings, queens, princesses, whatever. And it's crazy to me how they mention Trump many times. And then right here, so this was, the Department of Justice has officially released nearly 30,000 more pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. This is nuts. I'm not gonna get deep into this, but what the government is really telling us is that these people most likely won't get prosecuted at all because they had too much power. You got presidents. You have Bill Clinton, who, by the way, they call Bubba, Chris Tucker, Michael Jackson, George Clooney. They had all these people mentioned here. It, to me, is crazy. Point is, everything that's been happening with the Epstein Files and the lack of accountability with these people, it makes me question the government even more. How they keep allowing this, knowing they have substantial proof. Somebody who kept tally. Granted, he was part of that bullshit, but he kept tally of other people who were getting down too. I tend to believe the people that keep record. The ones that want to be spiteful and have like, their banking card basically, like, hey, you owe me now. I tend to believe those because they could tell you exactly what's going on. All right, but I'm gonna leave it here, ladies and gents. Listen, I wanna note something before I do leave. I want people to realize something when it comes to, like, if you follow me on my other page, again, follow me on my other YouTube and Account TV. So just go there and subscribe if you want to. But look, I'm gonna be clear with you guys. I talk my shit. I do. And maybe I go overboard sometimes with the shit that I say. I'm not gonna deny that. But at least I don't go around the bush with what I have to say. Because when it comes to like games like Call of Duty, I don't like playing the political game in terms of how some other content creators act or give their take, right? I'm not gonna go around the bush. If the game's good and the improvements for Black Ops 7 are good, you're gonna hear it from me. And I'm saying, listen, they've been good updates. But if you're gonna go and say shit that other people might not have, the one brain cell to realize, what the fuck is this guy saying, right? And I'm gonna mention this guy, Swag. He has a large following, but somehow this guy uses his platform to just add more brain rot into the world, which is weird for a guy who's in his 30s. Like, act your age. Like, you want to cater to the youth, okay, but don't spread this brain rot of ideas and then say, oh yeah, this needs to be done. Because honestly, you have a lot of pull. You have a lot of people following you, and these developers actually listen to what you have to say. That's all, ladies and gents. That's all I want to say. Listen, there's no hate, but whether anybody wants to smoke, yeah, you're gonna get it. But anyways, guys, listen, we reached the end. Hey, Christmas is in 2 days. Don't do anything stupid. Be kind. Make it through the year. Enjoy the holidays. Hey, and start a fresh new year. You could do it. You want to throw your hat on content creating? I started last year. It's about to be a year next year in January. You could do it too. So, what are you doing? Don't keep your hands folded. Make these work. All right? And I'll see you guys on the next one. All right? Take care.